Hello, tribal dancers, everybody in the chat. So glad to see you. And I have Danny Shay here with us today. Hooray, hooray, hooray.
Hello, hello, hello.
The shaman of the shaman of the shamans.
Shay man. Yeah, that's right. The Shay man.
That's right. That's right. And today, what better person to share this conversation with than Danny because of his shamanistic abilities. We're going to talk about and dive into the Hopi prophecy and where we stand today with this and how is it related to the three-eye atlas, and what else do you yourself in the chat think about all of these things that are going on and the Hopi prophecy. So thank you for joining us. And if I don't catch your comments, please forgive me. I am still a greenhorn at this.
Come on now.
Well, I got Danny with me.
Yeah. And I do so many live shows. This is like the blind leading the blind here.
It's okay. We can feel our way around.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
We're spelunking without any flashlights.
Spelunking. Did you ever do that?
No.
Oh
no, but I have been to the bottom of the bottomless pit, Luray Caverns, and I lived in Virginia for 30 years. So
okay.
All of the area around there have definitely gone through some of those caverns.
Yeah.
It's scary when they shut the lights off and you're standing there. To think people did that with nothing but a candle on their head.
Yeah. And what was the light that they had? Saltpeter. I think saltpeter lamps.
Yes.
Anyway, we're not here to talk about spelunking.
No, we're not. We are talking about the Hopi. So, Danny, where would you like to start, and what would you like to say to our tribal dancers?
Keep dancing.
All right.
That's what I want to say. Keep dancing. You know, one of the things I think it might be worthwhile to start at the end. Everybody starts at the beginning, so let's start at the end. What is the message from the Hopi prophecy? What do you? Yeah, I mean, because we'll have people coming in and go out, and then we'll dig into the prophecy rock and the 9 worlds and all that. But for me, and with all prophecies, and we were talking backstage about, how do you prove something? How do you prove something that you can't see, you feel it, it's the right thing to do, but is there scientific proof? Well, in our last show that we did together with Saint Germain, he came back as 2 different alchemists and 2 different scientists. One was, empirical science, and the other was more of a trial by error and just knowing type thing. So he had to come back and kind of figure out what science really meant in his evolution. And so we can't really prove what's going on in the Hopi prophecy, if it's really true or if it's not. It just feels true. But the main message that I get from the Hopi prophecy is that we need to get back to the connection of Mother Earth, Father Sky, all of the people on the planet and the animals on the planet, and have respect for everything. It's not about individuals having success for the individual. It's about individuals having success for the collective community. And that's what I get with this hopping around on the Hopi prophecy. Right?
Well, and we are, because it is deep, it is meaningful, it is spoken with language that is poetic.
Yeah.
And because it's poetic and certainly of its time and certainly of another language, science is very willing to dismiss it. However, stuff happened that proves, well, this is what they were talking about. Well, this is
Yeah,
what, and you can take apart the Torah and you can take apart the Bible and come up with, oh, this is a metaphor for.
correct.
Why can't we do the same thing with this?
Yeah,
You know, dismantling its creation story. Well, it sounds so much like all the others, but there is a worldwide connection with just the vibration and the frequency of language.
yeah.
Words overlap from one language to another.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the word for morning in Japanese is the or sun. Maybe it's morning. No, sun is the same word for moon in Hawaiian. And you transverse those. And, you know, I mean, if that can happen there, when I look at the Hopi and they call the Ant people the Anu Aki, and then you look at Mesopotamia and the sky fire people are the Anunnaki. Well, was it when the fire world was being destroyed that the Anunnaki showed up and the Ant people, the Anu Aki, who took the people underground? It's the
Oh,
opposite.
you're pulling at straws here now. Come on.
I'm just saying.
You know,
But it happens, right?
yeah, yeah, and one of the things that when I was digging into the Hopis, and we got the same book,
Yes.
this book
Oh, yeah.
here, the Book of Hopi. I know, and I remember buying this and going, "Why am I buying this book?" And it sat on my shelf for about 9 months, and I started digging into it, and I go, this is really hard to look at. And then I found a Kindle version that was so much easier to read. And then I read that, and then I went back and read this. But it's so rich in the history. And the trouble that I had was with the names, the Anunnaki or the what did you call it?
Anu Aki.
Anunnaki, say that. And they have so all these difficult names for me to pronounce and to remember was my challenge to get through this. But the thing that I found fascinating was because history has been verbally told from grandmother to son to it was always from the grandmother down that she told the history of creation of their people. And in reading this book, there was somebody came from Hawaii, and he was listening to this Hopi elder speak of their creation story, and he goes, "That's my creation story from Hawaii. That's what my grandmother told me." And, they had to repeat the creation story. And if they got something wrong, then they go, no, 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 start all over again.
Yeah, from the beginning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would drive me nuts because I'm always getting things wrong.
But you get it right if you start over from the beginning because you remember the crumb trail you've left behind.
Right,
Oh, I
right.
made a mistake there. I won't do that again. So
Yes.
for everybody in the chat, this book is still out there, still available. You can find it at thrift books. Don't worry about buying a used copy because people are, I have found, they're very gentle with books, especially such as this. So the richness of the story that Danny was just talking about, you can find it in this book and certainly get your own interpretations from it. But
Yeah. So let's go into the prophecy. Where did I mean you we can it's so rich. It's like
where do we
where do
start?
you even begin? Do you begin with the prophecy rock? Do you begin with creation story? Where do you want to go?
Well, let me just start with creation story. But I'll make it quick and I'll sum it up.
A fast creation.
It's bad. There you go. Overnight.
Can you make it
Yes.
7 days or less?
7 days or less. And this is it. They are talking about an era of creation,
Yeah.
and not the 7 days that we find in the Bible.
What?
Okay.
What?
Exactly.
Oh.
But now we've got 7 days in the Bible. And remember backstage when we were talking, I said 7 worlds of creation been handled already because,
Yeah.
okay, so the creator is Pinky in the brain. He's just the mind. He has no arms. He has no legs. He can't do it for himself. His name is Tawa. So Tawa creates Suktaknang to go out and make all these things.
I'm going to make sure you're doing this right.
Okay. Goes out and collects all the things from all the universes that the thought was able to put into place. So somebody else, this is like the sign of Aries, can't do anything because it's only cerebral, so it has to delegate to other parts of the body to get the sandwich to the mouth and such. But I digress. So it's Pinky in the brain.
Pinky in the brain.
He can't do it by himself. He's got to send Pinky out for him to go gather the things. So then Spider Woman comes into the picture to be the helper of let me say it, Sutaknang. When I get in the habit of saying it, it comes off more easily. Anyways, he gets Spider Woman. He creates Spider Woman. And then Spider Woman becomes his partner. And she creates the life that occurs on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And she has a colored thread for each one. So each world has a name and a function and chiefs. So the first world, let me get this out so I say them correctly, is the Fire Clan. It is the sun. It is yellow is the color, and it is in the west, and gold is its element. It has mockingbird and snake as its chiefs, along with those other things. They are considered the chiefs. So in this first world, we have the creation of the planets. Let there be light, and then the rest of the planets. He saw that was good, and that was one day, and then he rested. Well, this is the first world by the Hopi. And what we are looking at is they liken them to being the creatures that live underground as the first life. So they call them the Anunnaki and are considered them to be ants. But life continues to progress because Spider Woman is continuing to make other beings to help with the function of this planet. And then, of course, they begin to barter and trade, and the wars start, and it's over and over again that this happens. So we have the destruction of the first world, but those who stuck to the path of Creator and what Creator said to give song and praise and honor Mother Earth and Father Sky, which is the brain. From there, he took those handful of people, put them underground to live with the ants, to learn from the ants who lived in harmony and peace and fed each other, kept themselves warm when it was cold and cool when it was hot. And so the end of the first world, the second world began, and Sutakneng came back out to take the creatures from under the earth and put them into play on top of the earth. Again, Spider Woman came along with her threads to create this life. So each thread, each color is a thread from Spider Woman. The first world is gold. The second world happens again. So the second world is the color blue. The chief color is blue. It is in the south. The chief is the south, and the elemental chief is silver. And it is the place of dark midnight. So now we have another moon coming in, right? We have that dark midnight. We have the illumination of the moon. And again, things are going along just fine, and the animals are created, and they live together in peaceful kingdoms. And they are likening the life to the animals. And if you think of Jiminy Cricket, who said, "You are the only human animal," we were not set apart from these animals. We lived together in peace with these animals. Well, trade and bartering began because always we become greedy. And so the same story happens again. This time they're taken below ground again. And what happens in this dark midnight world is the Great Ice Age, not the Second Ice Age, but the Great Ice Age. So they are taken underground to learn again from the ants how to stay warm, how to live in harmony, how to share food. And each time the ants have deprived themselves of nourishment in order to allow the higher beings to survive and go out and repopulate. So in that, this is why the Hopi say that the ant has such a skinny waist. It did not eat. And if you look at the body of an ant, it has no waist at all. It looks like a dumbbell, right? So then came the third world. Now the third world, the chief is in the east. It is the Bo clan. It is, the chief color is red, and the element is copper. And this is the land of plants, where plants were going to have more dominion. And the animals were separate. They no longer, they became wild and did not have a peaceful transition with man. And so it was also the world of tobacco, or the second world, I'm sorry, I didn't say it was the world of trees. Here it is the world of tobacco and corn, and it's about crow and antelope. And so again, the people started to barter and trade because after they learned how to create themselves, and this time they said, we have to destroy this world, and we need to do it with water. Isn't that what I said? Water. No, I'm sorry. They spread in progress on the road of life, and they lived together. Yes, they did not wait for them to start to harm each other. Taiwa and Sutaknang said, we're going to clear this earth now. We are going to destroy it now before they have a chance. And Spider Woman said, well, what should I do? How are we going to save anyone this time? And he said, you take a reed, go to the waters and cut down all the reeds. They are hollow. And put all of the people that follow the creation's desires into the reeds. Give them a little bit of water and give them white cornmeal dough. And I will cap up everything and they will survive. And when the waters dry, they will go and repopulate. And that takes us to the fourth world that we are in right now. But if we, and the flood stories that are all, so every culture has them.
Yeah.
What you're thinking about the Nile flowing over after 40 days of rain, or Lemuria. So this brings me to something else we were talking about backstage, which was there's 9 worlds to be created. What if those 4 doors that they first spoke of were also intermingled with Lemuria and its destruction as a separate world, Atlantis and its destruction as a separate world, and then Egypt and its destruction as a separate world? Now the destruction is not quite so worldwide, but rather free will has begun to come into play. And that's what this fourth world is about. Our free will and decisions to be made. So those others, if we bookshelf them in between the four doors that the Hopi speak of, we'd be at the 7 days of creation. We would be at going into rather the end of the seventh world and going into the eighth world, rather than the end of the fourth world and going into the fifth.
I'm kind of lost with that.
Okay.
So
Yeah, it didn't help that I was stuttering over it either.
but it feels like, to me, it feels like that we're at a precipice of, no matter what has happened in the past, which is certainly relevant on how to live, and if you don't live according to the laws of creator, right, then we're probably going to end up going down the wrong path. So we always have to have that creator respect and honor in our daily lives, which we have totally lost now. But when you were talking about the destruction of the first, second, third world, destruction of Lemuria, Atlantis, Egypt, are you saying that that it's like one portal energy? I'm confused with that.
Okay, so the way I look at it, and yes, Annie, I believe Lemuria is older than ours. I'm saying if we take those three and pigeonhole them. So if Lemuria is older than our story, at least the one we know now, it was destroyed by flood. But Atlantis also was destroyed by flood, or did it just blow itself up? See, we don't have the answers to those. Okay, now talk about rambling. I've lost. Say your question again.
Okay, well, and I don't know if it's that important, because I was talking about the three worlds that were destroyed by floods, and you said Egypt, Atlantis, and Lemuria, and I was and then us. Are we? So this fourth world, is this something that we could look forward to, floods? And certainly there's some psychics that say, oh, the whole west coast of California needs to be evacuated because of floods. And me, I'm thinking Steven Spielberg. I just need a bigger boat. That's all. But and if it comes to that, then how do you prepare for something like that? And for me, it's tapping into creator source energy and being in that reverence and respect, and then I'm okay with whatever happens, I think.
So there's one component to the fourth world creation, and I'm with you on that. I mean, it doesn't matter if we give it 7, 9, 4, whatever, but with this fourth world, we can look at this as the second ice age, when Sutuknang is at the top of this earth. The axis has been put back into place. So the North Pole and the South Pole have been put back in place. Some of the destruction is when those two poles go haywire and the world starts spinning like crazy. Okay, so let's say we're in the second ice age with that, and the Pinky sends Mesa to come and be the guardian of Earth, the protector of Earth. And he is to give permission to people. Now, he is standing in a frozen tundra. And we know that the Bering Straits were frozen over. And this
Yeah.
is one of the stories where people came to populate this side of the earth. Now we've also got to think of all the tumblings around with the earth, that where water was all on one side and earth was all on the other. That was in the first world. And then there was a separation, and put the water where the earth was and the earth where the water was. And then there was another separation, so that everything was different.
Right.
Then we get to the point where there is now free will. And so the story of being at the top of that polar is, to one group, he said, this is the back door entry. This is the north back door to the entry to the south. And so they came down through the Bering Straits. If we listen to that or read that story or that possibility, because nobody knows for sure, well, that makes perfect sense, that the migration went California, through the Hopi Nation, through the desert sands. If they were desert, they were probably fertile back in those days. The water had just receded, down through Mexico, down into South America, and eastward from there. But then on the other side, we have the Asian races coming through. We have the Russian areas coming through their frozen tundras and populating into Europe and Italy, and then down on into Australia, and so on and so forth. And we must consider that there had to be a rise from the South Pole as well.
Yeah.
So things that weren't in the story, but if we try to connect all the tales of these creation stories, we get something that looks pretty full of everybody's stories that can
Yeah.
still follow a sequence and make sense.
Right. Right. And I just love the fact that they are passed generation to generation verbally. Right.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So let's look into what the prophecy says.
Okay.
And where do they? So do you remember? I'm going to hold up a picture of the prophecy rock, and this is only part of it. So I don't know if you guys can see that. I took it off the web, and so the upper piece up here, that is supposedly that's where we're going up there, and then we have this really rocky path if we keep going up as individual people who are not taking care of the planet. And the lower path, it has three big events. Some people say it was World War I, II, and the next one that we are almost in, World War III. And it talks about how we come out of that with abundance and love, and that we have food. But the thing that this image doesn't show is the lower line continues around that bend.
Yeah.
I went, that is fascinating. That we don't know where it's going, but it keeps going. The top one, it's just so jagged. I don't think it goes anywhere.
Well, and you know who's singing in my head? Johnny Cash.
Johnny.
I hear that whistle blowing.
Yeah.
So, right. So these are the three quakings, those three circles underneath what looks like the train or
Yeah.
people in a cart. Yes, those are the three quakings. Now, what I have is that the first shaking was the Black Ribbon Road. The black ribbon is the asphalt, the cement that was laid for the Model T.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the first real quaking. The cart with the voices, that's a prediction that happened. That was the white man coming here from Europe. Okay, but these are quakings, the subsequent things that have happened since then. And then World War II, it was gourds dropping ashes. Well, if you only have to look at fat boy and little, or fat man and little boy, and you can see that those definitely look like gourds. And even during World War One, dropping the hand bombs out of the planes that they used then also look like gourds being thrown upon the earth. And what did they do? Demolish, destroy,
Yes.
leave ashes behind. So now that what had happened in 1920, they wrote Woodrow Wilson a letter wanting to be admitted into the League of Nations because the indigenous are a separate nation. And of course, it was rejected and they weren't allowed to come in. Had they come in, they would have talked to about the three doors and the fourth door that we are standing in now,
Mm-hmm.
what is to come to end and shut this fourth door. So after that, we can look at this and know that what came through that door from the east is Japan and Germany, right? And our Japan came here and dropped bombs, and then we went to Germany and dropped bombs and dropped back on Japan. And my dad actually was a part of the ground crew of the Enola Gay. So I have pictures putting the bombs up in the Bombay, and nobody, including Tibbets, really knew what was going to happen. They knew something was up. Of course, the bombs weren't activated till they were in the sky. But it's a sad story, right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, then they wanted to become part of the. Then they wrote to Roosevelt, and he wouldn't allow them in. And then they wanted to tell about the House of Micah when they wanted to get into the League of Nations. That was another tale that they had to say, right? Well, they weren't allowed to come in, of course. Well, what is the House of Micah? It's shining like mica in the desert, shines in the sun. Well, that's the UN building. And now they won't let them into the UN. So 4 nations voted to allow them to come in and speak. It was at 1972, and it was the US who vetoed their voice. And bury my heart at Wounded Knee and stand for Standing Rock. You know, I mean, thank God Leonard is out.
Yeah.
So, and that's enough of that. But then the other House of Micah that fell was the Twin Towers.
Yeah. Right.
So those are the 3 quakings that we're going through, right?
Well, and then there's some other people that would think that it's it depends on what you think of the big quakings. You know, some say it was the world wars that was going, but it doesn't really matter. You can pull things out of history and say, oh, that's this. There's, because when you're prophesizing, it comes to you either in a knowing or a vision or another way that's non-tangible. And
Right.
so, and then we have to translate it to make it sense for the time that we're in.
I didn't write down who had said those 3, but it was that same Thomas Banyan Yankia.
Yeah.
What that first one was with the ribbons and the cars was that it was going to make everybody sick. Well, that's the exhaust from the fumes, especially back in the beginning.
Right.
And the oil all over everything, and getting into using fossil fuels.
Yeah. So there's prophecies that I wrote down about the whites who took over the land, the longhorn cattle that have come onto the land, that took the place of
Buffalo.
the buffalo and the native animals that were on this land. It talks about the giant spider web, and that's, what is that? Is that power lines, or is it
Well,
5G?
I have all 9 of them here. Shall I read them?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. So the first one is the white man. The second one is wheels that spin with voices. Well, that's certainly the Conestoga wagons that came bringing people and more people. The white man's cattle longhorn. Then the snakes of iron, the tracks for the train,
Railroad.
putting more fuel into the air that is causing people to be sick. Then came the giant spider web. First is the telephone and telegraph, right? Those are the wires for that. And then the sixth one is the rivers of stone that make pictures of the sun. So those 4, 5, and 6 are considered crisscross, things that are going to crisscross the lands. And so, of course, the rivers of stone are all the high rises and the, the corporate world starting to take off, even in 1920, 1930. Hollywood, hooray for Hollywood, all of that, right?
Yeah, or it could also be the solar panels that are taking pictures of the sun.
Well, and then this number 7 is the sea turned black. Well, living things are dying because there's so much water pollution. They're getting strangled. They can't breathe. They're jumping out of the water and going crazy because they can't get what they need from the water.
Deepwater Horizon, and also the California oil spill, the Valdez, all that, seas turning black.
All of that. You're absolutely right. And then number 8. Now, this is my generation and everybody since who has grown their hair long or live to grow their hair long in here, just within. It is youth wearing long hair like us, like my people, in order to learn our ways and our wisdoms, to reconnect with the earth. And look at how far we get and how bad it would be if we weren't here trying to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine? And then the 9th one is, you will hear of a dwelling place in the heavens above the earth that shall fall with a great crash. It will appear as a blue star, and very soon after this, the ceremonies of my people will end. Now, when I think of that, that takes me to this 3-eye atlas.
What about the International Space Station that fell?
I forgot about that. But the thing why it is atlas in my head is because it entered blue.
Yeah.
And now that it is getting so much reflection from the yellow sun, well, what do those 2 primary colors make?
Mm-hmm.
The color green.
So I want to back up a little bit.
Okay.
So you number 9, you said a crash from the heavens, blue star, and that's when what will end?
Their ceremonies will cease.
Their ceremonies will cease.
Because the blue star Katsina takes his mask off.
Yes.
The truth about the thing about the all Katsinas, they cannot take their mask off in ceremony. Nobody knows who is who. All the masks are the same. Even if one is the leader, nobody knows who is who. And so they can never take that mask off in front of the uninitiated.
Right.
Now this takes me to Mandalorian.
Wait. Hang on. I got to go back.
Okay, go back
to this because you said ceremonies will cease. So what does that mean?
Well, if the Katsina takes off his mask, there is no need for these because man has come together. He cannot take
There
it
we go.
off in front of the uninitiated.
There we go. That's what I wanted.
There you go, right?
Yeah.
He cannot take it off in front of the uninitiated. So, in other words, we have lived through the trial of fire and we have made it to the other side. And now we have been initiated and we can see the truth.
And it feels like to me that when the mask comes off, the reason for no ceremonies, because I'm big with ceremonies, because that taps us into the remembrance and gives us a focus, gives me a focus to stay on either in the meditative journey, the path, whatever it is that I need to be on. If I add ceremony to it, I'll stay on that. I'll be focused more on it. So when you said the ceremony is ended, when the casino takes off the mask, it's when I read that and when I heard that, I said that that creator, some Spider Woman, but even beyond, it's like we're really sensing, we're finally seeing the truth of why we are here, which goes back to living like ants.
Yeah,
Yeah.
together in community, in colony,
Yeah.
my bees, wasps, they're all connected. They all have the same body style. They all have the same idea of living in harmony and colony and working together and making sure no one is hungry and no one hurts and no
Yeah.
one is without comfort and
Yeah.
companionship. I'll
Right.
help you carry your load.
I don't know what that means for my Lamborghinis because it'll only fit one, and I don't like having anybody in my Lamborghini, so I think I'm going to need to get rid of them.
Well, that brings me to the story of Mandalorian because I just have to say this because even when I saw Boba Fett for the first time.
Saw what?
Boba Fett? You weren't into Star Wars? Oh my dear man. You need to go back and watch them all. It starts like a cartoon to begin with.
Is that a Disney product?
No.
Yes. Okay,
Now,
go on. Never mind. Go ahead.
Once upon a time, it was Lucasfilms.
Go ahead.
Okay. It's George Lucas's brain.
Yes.
And Boba Fett is a Mandalorian who becomes rogue. He goes rogue because his father was killed, and his father was a great Mandalorian. And Mandalorians cannot take off their helmet in front of anybody who is not initiated.
Mm.
So I'm just saying, George Lucas is a brain because he wrote all these things so far back. I used to take care of children who lived in a home. And sometimes you have to pull a midnight shift. Well, they had these little paperback books, 12 chapters in the life of Star Wars. And I read them, and they were amazing. And this was long before there was a movie.
Yeah.
So they were awesome. And I just couldn't help but get into the movies. Plus, I had a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
Who loved Yoda, his little chin.
Yoda. I mean, I have seen 1, 2. And I don't know why I don't watch more, but
well, the other stories that have come out of this, which is Mandalorian and the little Yoda, the baby Yoda, whose name is Grogu. He is it's a different story. It's gone far beyond what George Lucas had thought. Yeah. But this is the way is their mantra. And they can't take their helmets off. And I'm sure that their trajectory was tying into this Hopi prophecy.
Yeah. So, yeah. And I'm sure it is, because they take from so many different sources that are all universal
Yeah.
to us all. But let's get to the Three Eye Atlas, because everybody's talking about it.
Yeah.
And with this Hopi prophecy coming up, it's kind of fascinating, because you've channeled the Three Eye Atlas. I did a number of readings on it, and I have not seen anybody come up with a different message on Three Eye Atlas. It's all about it's coming to bring a message. It's going to reveal something to us. It's going to take the mask off. Something. And I think you said it's blue, or is it now green? It's
It
changing colors
entered blue,
yeah,
but once it got the reflection from the sun, it turned green,
green,
because yellow and blue make
green. Well, you would know. You're the oil painter.
exactly. So when you take two primary colors and make that secondary color green, this makes sense to me. I also believe that it is manned. And I believe
Manned.
okay, it is hybridized. Now I think that
Man with antennas. My
right,
favorite
maybe
Martian.
with
I did see
antennas,
my
like
favorite Martian.
the real ant people. Okay, so I really think that Mars was populated before. And my thought was that these are descendants of the population of Mars. They knew a cataclysm was coming, and before it hit, there were some that were able to get off the planet and try to go out and multiply, or find a place to colonize, or find a place to exist. And so they traveled on and on and on, and of course along the way made stops, and became hybrids with other interactions from other galaxies and other beings from other galaxies. And who knows what that ship would look like today with all the changes it would have to go through. And what if all the stuff that's on it are just the barnacles that grow on a whale in the water? I mean, we don't know why it looks like a rock. It's a defense mechanism. We can look at it that way. So now it is back in our territory. It's come back to see what is going on here. This is where we came from. How did we end up here? And its intention was to go fly by Mars. But when we add this government shutdown, pulling all the plugs on all of our spaceships, the Hubble, the James Webb, we can't, not spaceships, but cameras, we can't see what it's doing when it was stationed with Mars. What if those 3 days creatures disembarked to repopulate Mars?
You said 3 days?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, they're still shut down, but when it was in the proximity of being with Mars.
of Mars. That was 3 days?
There were 3 days of that.
And that's
Yes.
3 days of darkness that we couldn't.
Well, we still can't see them, but then suddenly, yes, there you go, 3 days of darkness. And I didn't even think of that.
Well,
But
that's why I'm here.
I'm so glad. But so if that's the case, because there were 3 days before it moved on to be into the perihelion with the sun, and now it just can't be seen even if the cameras were back on. But an amateur camera in Africa, in South Africa, I can't remember where, was able to get a couple of shots of it. And so we knew it was still out there, but we couldn't tell for sure what it was anyway. Now that it's getting closer to the sun, we won't see it till it comes around. When it comes around, it's going to go past Venus. And in my little pea brain, I'm thinking, well, every time it goes past something, it's like being conjunct, like two planets being conjunct. It is It is enhancing each other. They're conjunct. They're working together. So all of a sudden, Heather Ensworth came on with Barbara Handclough. Now, Barbara Handclough is a foremost astrologer, brilliant woman. I don't know that she's an archaeologist or a geophysicist, but she might as well have those degrees because she knows so much. And she said basically the same thing that I did. And what she said was, as each one goes past, as each planet is passed by 3i Atlas, that planet is getting an upgrade.
Mm.
So even if all they did was leave supplies for those beings that may already be inhabiting Mars. The other thing that she drew attention to was the fact that the pyramids that are on Mars align with our pyramids on the Giza plateau.
And there's some alignment with the pyramids in Mexico too.
Yeah.
With Giza, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. And it all goes back to Orion's belt. And the the notches on his belt. And, you know, then we got Beetlejuice in the shoulder of his.
Now I saw that movie.
Yeah, me too. Both of them. But Beetlejuice, you know, that's a star that's getting ready to blow up, or did it already? We just haven't had the Big Bang yet.
Right.
You know, it would take 2,100 years for the noise to get here. So who, you know, that we need Neil deGrasse Tyson to answer that question.
Yeah, I better go get some earplugs.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's so many things that we can't get a true answer to.
Yeah. But yeah.
But the feeling is so strong, you know? And so maybe it is all on an individual basis.
Well, and you know, from what I heard too, is that there are certain people who have a higher vibration that will be able to hear this message from, whether it's 3i Atlas, the Casina removing the mask, whatever that is in this time frame. It certainly feels to me like those who are have a higher intentionality with the planet and other people, and who are wanting to serve a higher purpose, not just their individual purpose, that they're going to be able to hear the message. And I'm trying to raise my vibration really quick so I can hear it. And I hope I have a tape recorder so I'll remember it.
You only have to reconnect all of the, with you, they are connected. Let me rephrase that. We have 12 strands of DNA. There is no junk DNA. All we have to do is be aware, and the DNA strand is activated. And so all you have to do is stay in your awareness, shine your light as you always do. And in that, you will hear the message.
Do I have to think about DNA strands?
No, I'll do
Good,
that.
because that won't work for me.
I'll do that for you. But, right, for sure.
Yeah, so it's gonna you know, and that's what I go, how are we gonna hear this? Is it just gonna be a knowing? I mean, because is it gonna be a knowing of a pathway on this Hopi rock that we're looking at? Is it gonna be going around the bend, and we're gonna go, oh, now we get to see around the bend on how to stay in that trajectory?
Sutuknang tells them over and over and over again, follow your third eye, cross your eyes and follow what is inside between them, and follow the stars at night. And that's really the way to find it, if we don't ever stop imagining the stars.
And what does that mean, follow the stars at night?
When you are having to travel by dark, do as they always have done. Follow your North Star,
Oh,
the
yeah.
North Star,
Uh, uh,
right?
yeah. Yeah. Okay.
There's the North Star is what, in the Big Dipper?
Yeah,
Easy to find.
it is.
So I mean, the answer is right in front
Can't
of
I
us.
use GPS?
Well, if you remember that all frequency and vibration is color and sound, we're good to go. You're going to hear it.
Yeah. So and that's yeah, so that brings me to what I just heard in my third ear, because I hear things way more than I see things, and so I think that's kind of funny. My third ear um, is is that we need to start paying attention. Look who I'm talking to to our paintings, to our colors, and start using those more often, so that we can tap into that vibration of maybe the four colors that they were talking about here: red,
Mhm,
yellow, black, and white,
mhm.
of the four directions, the four peoples who are supposed to take care of the elements of the earth, and the white man, we didn't do such a good job because we're fire.
Mm.
We just our fires are so dirty. They pollute way too much. But we all need to work together, all those colors. And I think that tapping into, even, I think, just getting a piece of paper with colored pens and tapping it. Medium Kim is so good at that. She does her color classes.
Yeah.
And she's so good at tapping into the vibration of and hearing those messages. Because for me, I don't, when I tap into like a yellow, I I go, okay, what's the vibration? And that's plastic, but this is different, right?
And a
So
different yellow
in a different yellow, and I have my great, but yes, so just holding on to that, or a blue planet.
or an amethyst
Yeah. And just
or obsidian and tiger eye, copper, silver,
and
turquoise. Today,
so even though I'm not an oil painter, I would I would stay with a primary color and listen to that versus because maybe I'm not that aware of how to blend colors yet.
well, you know what? If you just really looked at the rainbow, there are not stripes in the rainbow. There is a merging of color
Mm-hmm.
and a disembarking of color as the next one takes over.
Ooh, like that. Disembarking. Yes. Disembarking and embarking of, yeah. It's awesome.
There
Yeah.
you go. I can't believe it. We're already 2 minutes over.
Well, let's say hello to some people because I see
Yeah.
some people in the chat. Sherry and Rossi, hello, Leah. Who else do we got? I saw Trancing with Spirit, and I saw Annie Bear and Paula Stahl.
Yeah. Millie DePrada, Leah, Barbara's here.
We got
Paul,
Sarah
Paula
C.
Stahl.
Vivian's here.
Daily events worldwide info. I like that. Hypnicity. Hello, hon. J Cat Liddy.
So
Wow.
we didn't get to answer any questions, and I think that I don't even know how to answer questions on this.
You-
It's
Sometimes I think we just do the thought process and you answer the questions for yourselves.
yeah,
What can you get out of this whole conversation? I don't ignore you on purpose. It's because I just get so caught up in the ramble.
Yeah, the ramble. And I think that that is so key. I had somebody email me the other day and said, somebody told me I should or I need. And I'm like, okay, well, what do you think you should or need to do? You know, and they were talking about shamanism. And I'm like, well, maybe you need to anyway. It doesn't matter. I go, well, that's the whole purpose of shamanism, is dropping into that journey so that you have direct revelation on the messages for yourself, because we're all on different paths on the same path, but we'll do it a little differently. And as long as we're connected on the
Yep.
great big spider web of life.
Yep. Yeah, your own ceremony, your own ritual is just as important as anything that we've been taught.
Mm,
And of course, we are inspired by what we have been taught growing up, whether it's
yeah.
a church, a mosque, a temple, or just walking through the woods. Because isn't that the first church?
Yep.
Exactly. Exactly.
A lot of times it's the only church for me.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Only upon duress do I enter now.
What?
Only upon duress do I enter now.
Oh.
Like somebody's funeral. But I remember when to stand, when to sit, when to kneel.
Good. I would not know. I would
Oh.
not know.
It
I
Catholic
follow the others.
did you, well, but Catholic Church every day for 8 years of elementary school, plus Sundays, and then high school 3 times a week plus Sundays.
So I have a Catholic question for you.
Okay.
Do patent leather shoes really reflect up?
Yes.
I love that book. I mean, I
know.
love the title of that book
Yeah.
because, I mean, I went to Catholic schools and,
Yeah.
yeah, patent leather. Okay.
Class. I just the Fireside Theater
Yeah.
over and over again. How can you be in two places at once when you're not anywhere at all? Everybody, Danny, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Diana.
This was great. We have to get together again. Hello, Deanne, or bye-bye, Deanne, Trancing with Spirit, Debbie, Three Shifting Veils. Oh my gosh, so many of you. I'm sorry I've missed your name, but I know you're here.
All
Blessings,
right.
everybody. Blessings, Danny.
Bye. Bye,
Family
everybody.
and her dog.